effectively. You were part of the Purple People Eaters. What was your relationship with the other members of that squad? Carl Eller, Alan Page, Gary Larson, Doug Sutherland, and Jim Marshall.
Oh, we were close. Jim Marshall was our captain, and we took pride. I mean, we were the boys. We were the leaders. We were the reason we won. We play good, we win. We hung together. We still do. I talk to Jim all the time, and of course Carl. You just recently talked to Carl. He and I get along, and God bless his mom. I just loved his mother to death, and Sutherland was my roommate. And, we were a family, total family. And we had parties and everything. Everybody would come, and the wives were close. And that was the closest group. You can't get real close in New York, with the group I was with. You would, on certain functions. But here, after practice and everything, we'd go over to Eddie Webster's and Peanut Bar and everything. The whole group would go over there. And then the twins would be over there, and they would hang out there. And this whole Twin City area, the athletes really stuck together. But the town wasn't so big that you had to get caught in traffic. Like when it's downtown or it's on Eden Prairie now, we have location with the old Met. And then with Eddie Webster, which was our hot spot. But a lot of the players rented apartments right in that area. We were one unit, and if you let them down, they let you have it. You don't make a mistake without the other 3 or 4 or 5 just getting all over your case.
I'm not sure that's a group you want chasing you when you get them upset.
Oh, no. Even when we sat on the sidelines and stuff, we'd come together and say, hey, we got to pull this off, or we got to do this. And then when we break the huddle, we'd still be talking on certain things. And it's like, I got a Super Bowl sack, right? Third play of the game against Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Kind of a garbage sack. I should have hit 2 other ones that were better hits. But I didn't go me, and run 30 yards, have the camera do a shot of us. Doug said, all right, way to go. And then I'd go, Alan, up to Alan. I said, Alan, you way to clear the lane for me. We would go to the other group. We'd go and we'd talk about that and congratulate each other because somebody got double teamed, somebody did this, somebody did that. And when we were successful, we were talking to our teammates, giving them credit for allowing us to make the play. If you read into how I said that, that's what you really realize how close we were and how much of a team we had, especially the defensive line. We were the leaders of the defense. It was our team. It was this, and it was wonderful.
It's funny because Carl Eller said something very similar. He said, there was a competition among us to see who could get to the quarterback first or who could get there more often. He said, but it wasn't a negative thing where you wanted to be effective at the cost of somebody else. He said, we knew that if we didn't get there, then Alan would get there or Bob would get there or someone else would get there and get to the quarterback as well. So we took pride in the fact that we were good as a unit.
Yep. That's obviously, he and I were still on the same page.
All right, and this answer may be Bob Lurtsema, so we're curious to find out who was the biggest prankster on the Viking teams that you played on.
Oh, probably Wally Hildenberg. Tarkenton, believe it or not, Tarkenton was a sneaky little guy too. But with Wally, we put shaving cream on Sid Hartman. Wally did all that. Mm-hmm. But Wally had when we were at Super Bowl IX, Tarkenton was being interviewed by Cosell, mm-hmm. And then Wally said, "Hey, Lurtz, Alan," he was talking to Paige, said, "Go get your wastepack and fill them full of water. Let's get Cosell." So it was a 2-story type motel, and Cosell was interviewing Tarkenton. So Fran can see us sneaking up on the second floor behind Howard, right?
All right.
But doesn't do anything, and we're tiptoeing, the 3 of us. And then at count of 3, we throw the water down. And, of course, the fan jumped back. He didn't want to get wet, and Howard turned, and all 3 buckets of water hit him, moved to pay 2 inches back. You know. I always tell people that was the greatest thrill of my NFL career, but we got Howard, and that was a prankster. Wally was always coming up from tying his shoes together. It took my shoes out of my duffel bag when we were packing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I get out there for Saturday practice. I haven't got my shoes. I go, oh my God, now I'm in trouble. Bud doesn't like this. I go, oh Jesus, you got to go out on time with Bud and the whole works. And then finally, the last second, they came out and gave me my shoes, so I just made it. But they let me hang long enough. Oh, was I frustrated. I was basically pissed, too. I went, come on, don't do this to me. We told him, good to him, he said, Bud wants to see you bring your playbook, and he looks over his locker, and it's cleaned out. So he figured he's getting his ass cut, right?
These are the times that you needed video cameras to have that on film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the reactions, the way they reacted was just priceless.
You were a participant in the 1975 Hail Mary game, and in fact, I know you were in the game at the time. From a person who was on the field, and I'm sure you've seen the filmed highlights many, many times over, can you give us the memories of the Hail Mary pass, and what would have been your call if you were the referee?
Gil Brandt, who's Mr. Cowboy, said there was a worse call on the 4th down play before the Hail Mary. Fleming never would have been in bounds.
Roger going down here to Pearson. And did he make the catch? He did. He made the catch. What a catch that was, because Nate Wright was all over it. Let's take a look at it here. Rogers back to throw and gets some pretty good pressure right there by Alan Page. There's the throw. Let's take a look at it, Gary, real close. As you see him, he made the catch and the man was knocked out. Good call by the official.
But when the Hail Mary happened, I was in there. I was playing right tackle. They brought in Mark Mullaney at left tackle. And what we did, because there were 3 infractions. Now, Drew Pearson pushed. I mean, he's told me that. He said, I'll deny it. But he told me that off record that, of course I pushed. But here's what happened. We had what we call a deal on. And that's a stunt between the tackles. Now, I'm playing right tackle, and Mulaney's playing left tackle. The formation came out. It came out to be a 10 call, which meant that Mark went first. Now, all we're doing, we're exchanging responsibilities. He cuts to his right, so he goes through the center's head, runs that way, and I cut behind him. Now, great call, but the offensive lineman for the Cowboys tackles Mullaney, literally tackles him. That was the most flagrant. Watch the play close. Watch how he tackles him. Then I'm cutting off Mullaney. Now he goes down. If he doesn't clear, I'm taught to come off the stunt and go back and fill my gap. So I come off my stunt and come back. And if you look at the end zone, they hold me very slightly. I mean, you could tell where he pulled my jersey and held me because it was real clear. But that was the least of the 3. Mullaney's was worse than when Drew pushed off Nate. So there were 3 infractions on that play. And, I mean, when we came off, we were just totally shell-shocked. I've never seen the stadium so quiet, never seen the bench so quiet, never seen so many people just stunned. And we truly were. That's probably, in all my years of playing, and I've been in some wonderful wins and some terrible losses. That is without a doubt, the worst play or loss that I've ever been associated with.
I know it won't make you feel better, but if we got some physics professors involved, I'm not sure they could explain how Nate Wright could have pushed off and then lurched backward the other way. That's going to be a tough go.
The sad part, we thought we saw a flag, and then somebody threw something at the official, hit him in the head. So we should have had him a quarterback, but he's still not good. But yeah, we thought, oh, they called it, so we were, we kind of went, hey, there's the flag, but it wasn't, of course.
Yeah. Well, you then went on and you played in Super Bowl 8 and 9 with the Vikings. And in your opinion, why did the Vikings fail to have success in these two games? Was your opposition truly more talented than Minnesota, or was there something you feel the team failed to do on Super Sunday that could have resulted in a better performance?
Boy, there's so many times one play determines the outcome of a game. And I know in our first series against Miami, it's 3-and-out, right? But the official calls Wally Hildenberg, for holding. Miami run I don't know, Zonka. No, it couldn't have been Zonka. Maybe kicked anyway. They ran outside to our right. Now they got him for holding an offensive line. You haven't seen that call made ever. That was the only time I ever saw it. That was a terrible call. And that basically would have got us the ball right from the beginning and, 3-and-out. Instead, they went down and scored. So now, all of a sudden, instead of having good field position to score even, you're down 7-zip. Pittsburgh, you look at, we missed the extra point. We never miss the extra point. That gets blocked. Was it Gilliam? Yeah, Gilliam just cut in half, and the ball came out. That was a turning point, in the game as well. Because it does a lot of times come down to one or two plays.
Yeah.
As far as being prepared for it and everything, we had been there long enough, and it's just like a snake bit. And that's why attitude comes. It's like when Bud always said, "Get me close enough in the fourth quarter, I'll find a way to win." When a team loses in the last 2 minutes, hypothetically, 3 games in a row or something, or 3 out of 4, now you're getting the same situation. Instead of saying, we'll find a way to win, you're thinking, how are we going to lose this one? And Fred Zamboleo always said the best team they ever had was in 72. We missed, I think we lost 5 games by 3 points or less. Freddie Cox missed an extra point or a field goal inside the 10, and he goes on and on. He always felt that 72 was our best team, and yet we were 7-7 that year.
Yeah.
So just snake betting. That Miami game, that was brutal. That call and that play over the middle in the end zone, that was a big turning point.
In 1976, Bob, you left the Vikings and went to Seattle to the expansion Seahawks, where you joined your old line coach Jack Patera in an effort to get that franchise off the ground. You instantly became a starter there and a fan favorite too. Tell us about your experience in Seattle for 2 seasons.
The thing out there was all of a sudden you went from pressure of winning, and that's what you had to do each and every game. And with Minnesota, you went to an atmosphere where they were just glad to have you, and you could just have fun with it. And if you won, it was a bonus. It didn't take away from how you worked, because Patera, he coached me with the Vikings, with the Giants. He was the best coach I had, my line coach, because he knew my strengths and weaknesses, and he always coached to my strengths, and he knew how to get, between my ears in the right way. There wasn't any pressure whatsoever to win. Yeah, we all the old vets with Mike Curtis and Evans, and we had a great group of guys, and we were very positive. We came together, and I think we tied the franchise record. We had the earliest shutout in franchise history, which I got the game ball for, which I always like. That's my favorite game ball. Entirely different, because there wasn't any pressure, and I hate the word pressure, because if you got professional pride, there really isn't any pressure on you. But that was kind of the general feeling out there. Just, hey, this franchise is getting off its feet. Let's go out there and give them a show.
Well, you weren't forgotten in Minnesota, because it so happens that when you went to the Seahawks in 1976, you returned for a game at Metropolitan Stadiums, and at halftime, TCF set up a situation where you were honored by the Vikings and TCF and presented with a miniature sideline bench for your work with the team and the community. What was that event like, and where is that bench today?
The bench is in my basement, but I'm laughing because as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at a picture I got of number 70 with Hub Mead. I'm talking to in the microphone at halftime. They Twin City Federal, we did commercials for us, set up in '76. Actually, they gave out 62,000 little hearts that said "Welcome Home, Benchwarmer Bob." And then I spoke at halftime. Here, everybody else getting their butt chewed out, and I'm out there saying, "Hey, what's going on, everybody here in Minnesota? Glad to be back." And the recognition there, I don't know if anybody who ever spoke at halftime during a game when they were one of the starting players under the offense or defense. It was unique.
Yeah, and at least you have a step stool in your basement now you can use.
That's right. That's right. But, we should have beat them that day. The instant replay, we beat the Vikes. Yeah. Sherman Smith was actually over for a touchdown, and the referee didn't call it. Had we done that, we would have won the game. Not my sack on Tarkenton, though. That's I just put a finger on him. I touched him. I said, "I got you," because he went down and tripped over his own feet, and I was the first one there to touch him. I said, "Got you."
Well, they can't really blame you not only for taking the time for the halftime speech or you're playing the game, because I think you had something like 10 tackles in the game, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in on 10 tackles. So that was, and a game for a defensive end should be 2 to 3 tackles, and in a defensive tackle you should be 3 to 5 tackles. Yeah. So getting 10 tackles was.
I'm glad you had a good game, and I'm glad the Seahawks lost. I just have to put it on the line there.
Well, that's why I tell everybody, I just tugged in on purpose. I wanted you guys to have fun.
Absolutely. Well, I want to ask you one last question about your career before I turn to the 2013 squad. And it's a little bit unusual. A lot of times former players get asked, could you play in the game today? What I actually want to ask you is, do you think the players today could have played in your era where they really had to play every down?
Well, that's a good question. Could I play in today's? Yes, I could play if I was younger.
Right.
Not at my age, but if back as I was a 4'8", 5'40", I'm 260. So yes, I could still play it, at the end position. Could the players play now? I doubt it. Some of them, I really do, because everybody's specialized. They're instead of playing 60, 70 plays a game, they might get in there for 30, 35. And I've seen players, defensive linemen, raise their hand to be taken out of the game. My God, to be taken out of the game, number one, Bud Grant, that would be your last play, because you wouldn't be on the roster. The next day, Bud would cut you. Mm-hmm. But how can you let the opponents know that you're tired or you're down, and for you not to be in good enough shape to push? Because if you don't push, when you get to that point, if you don't push, how are you ever going to get a longer endurance? You got to keep going beyond, and that's what training camp is all about. But no, I really don't think that they could play. Not to say that they're not better athletes. I mean, some of them. Their speed. Bubba Smith, when he came in, he was 295. He went at 4'8". He was kind of revolutionizing how fast the big guys were when I was with Baltimore. But being the athletes that they are, I would have to say no, I don't think they could.
Well, I'm going to turn your attention, as I promised, to the 2013 squad, and I'm going to start right in your wheelhouse with the defensive lineman. I want to get your impression of first-round draft choice Sharif Floyd in his limited playing time in the preseason. What do you see?
The part that I'm watching, he's got quick feet. He's got football smarts. You watch when he gets beat or something, how he reacts, like when he jumps and knocks the pass down and stuff. He's got great instincts in there. The thing, he's almost specialized. By that I mean he's going to be a run stopper. He only had 7.5 sacks in his career, okay? And 4 the last year. And he's got 30.5-inch arms. So I'm watching more of the agility, how he moves people. He seems to be more of a player that takes them on strong. Because if you only have, say your arms are 30.5, a lot of the guys we play, I think, got 37, 38-inch arms. Well, whoever gets inside with their hands, whether the offensive lineman does or the defensive lineman, they usually win the contest. So I see him, good kid. You know, how he's brought up so many positives, quick feet, good reaction, all that. But I don't see him making a big contribution as far as a pass rusher.
And from your perspective, you've seen this for years watching the team. The defense has gotten more solid recently, but we still, especially in the secondary, struggle to create interception opportunities. Is this a skill set issue, a scheme problem, or something else in your mind?
I think it's individual effort. See, a lot of times people can't, the reason that these defensive backs aren't receivers, they can't pick up the ball fast enough. In other words, it's like baseball players. If you hear them talk, they'll say, when the ball is released from his hand, I could tell by the rotation of the baseball that it was a curveball or a drop, whatever. I'm going, what? That's a God-given talent that baseball players have to be able to, I mean, their eyes are that sharp. And then some of your defensive backs who couldn't be receivers, either their depth perception's off, they can't pick up the ball fast enough. They lose it in the lights a lot quicker. And so I think it dictates a good coach. It'll dictate to a good coach the individual strengths and weaknesses. And that's the part where, so I believe coaching is 60 or 65% of the game, and I'll go to my grave with that one. But that's where a coach picks up on that to find out what he can do. But it's definitely the interception. It's like Paul Krause. He's got the record and everything. Mm-hmm. Paul is a scratch golfer, could have played professional baseball. Yeah, he's a total athlete. He could locate and see everything on the field. It's like a quarterback. Some quarterbacks go back, they take one step, they know where the other 10 players are on their team, right? Mm-hmm. Then you get some other quarterbacks that bounce around and not real bright. They take one step back, 2 steps back, and 2.5, then they go. You know, it's kind of like a boom, boom, boom look, how they read, where a good one just take one step and it's boom. You know, they got everything.
Right.
And that's why... that's what makes an athlete a great athlete.
Should the Viking fans, as we flip to the other side of the ball, should they be concerned about the continued struggles of the passing game? It was not monumental performances by the offense.
Christian Ponder can do it. Now Ponder is no Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, you know, as far as a bullet goes, you know, throwing it on a tightrope, but he's smart. And this year, you got the offensive line back, and that's where you win your games anyway, offensive, defensive lines. Entire offensive line back. But last year, who did he have to throw to? Nobody, basically, because Carlson, the other, the tight end we picked up from Seattle, got hurt, and Kyle Rudolph, who was a steal of the draft, and I've said that for 2 years now, MVP of the Pro Bowl and everything, you got him there. But who did you have go deep last year? Nobody. I mean, Jerome Simpson was hurt, so now you got Jerome Simpson back, so that's going to get your corner back a little bit, maybe open up the run game more for the greatest running back in the world, Adrian Peterson. And then also the Jennings we picked up from Green Bay. I mean, now Ponder, if he has trouble with these receivers, then I'll say I won't go to bat for him. But right now I'm going to bat for, I'm still in Ponder's corner. Tougher schedule, I don't care about being tough. I'd rather play with tougher teams anyway. Every time you play an easy team, you lose. I don't know whether you don't prepare right or you get lazy or whatever, but I like playing against the best every week. I mean, bring it, brother. Let's see how good I am.
And the last part of our interview today, Bob, is simply a rapid-fire session where I'll give you one word or one phrase, and we're looking for, in return, a one-word or sentence response from you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start with Chuck Foreman.
In the fourth quarter, nobody I'd rather have on my team than Chuck.
Okay. Carl Eller.
The Moose. One special individual that had the perfect body. I mean, the Moose. He was strong, powerful, quick, and I'll just say the Moose.
All right. Bill Brown.
Boom Boom, old bow-legged Billy. Hard Rock Brown. He'd take rather than run around somebody, he wants to run over him.
Okay. Jim Marshall.
Mr. Endurance. Very bright defensive lineman. But Jim was always Mr. Experimental, playing from rockets, bottle rockets, to flying on uniplanes and hitting telephone poles. He did it all.
All right. Stu Voigt.
Mr. Consistency. Steady Freddy.
Ron Yeri.
Football was his life. Every play was Ron Yeri's life. Never a person that was more dedicated to just football. And I'm talking practice, the whole works.
John Gilliam.
Gilly. Smooth. Just outright smooth. Always would light you up with his smile, and a joy to watch run. He run like a deer.
Dennis Green.
Dennis Green. Read too many of his press clippings and took it to which changes his temperament and ego.
Mike Tice.
Tice should never have been let go. He was 7-2 the last 9 games that he coached. Very, very, very bright player. When he was with Seattle, I did some color commentary with him. And Mr. Honesty, ask him a question, he'll give you an answer.
We all agree with you there. We've seen that.
Yep.
And the final one I have for you is Randy Moss.
A character. Randy's no dummy. And he's going to surprise everybody how well he's going to do doing the TV commentary. But just tremendous God-given talent to a very bright person who, by the way, was misunderstood more times than understood. And if you knew Randy, you'd think and met him and been on occasions, you would have a different opinion than what the media says.
Well, Bob, we appreciate you taking the time to share your memories with the Viking fans, and wanted to ask in closing, were there any thoughts you had about the 2013 Minnesota Vikings?
They're going to do very, very well. I really hope if Adrian Peterson gets within 6 yards, I don't care if they win, lose, or tie the game, just give them the ball. Let them have the record. But it's a good unit. As far as personalities, they blend very, very well. And I think Leslie Frazier has a temperament and control, and he has this group thinking a lot like what the Purple People Eaters did back in the 70s, as far as getting aboard, believing in what you can do, like what Bud Grant taught us. And this is going to pay big dividends for us this year. And I don't want to hear anything about injuries or anything. Everybody has injuries.
Well, again, Bob, thanks for joining VikeFans.com, and we'll keep a seat warm on the bench for you when the Vikings return to that ever-elusive Super Bowl appearance.
I'll be there. I'll be down the field. Come down. We'll talk.
All right, Bob. Thanks.
All right, Tom.